Welcome. My name is Doug Simcox, and I'm joined with my co-host Sam Swearingen today. This is Beyond the Chutes. Today we're going to catch up. We got a lot going on. We're going to see what's new, and we're going to continue our conversation about some rodeo bull riding terms. Now, Sam and I are riding for the brand BTC, Beyond the Chutes, and you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and my daughter Kathleen set up a new Facebook group page called Beyond the Chutes. I guess you're supposed to like it, follow it. We're going to post up our episodes there, so come find us. And Sam, are you there, and what have you been up to?
Yes, I am, Doug. Good morning.
Good morning.
Everything's well. Just been out in the hay fields and fixing equipment, and I was blessed with a guy that used to work for me, was looking for something to do, so he came back and he's helping out. So it's really good to have somebody else when you're doing about 300 acres of hay.
Holy cow,
to give you a hand.
You bet. You bet. No, that's great to have help. How many acres do you have left to go on this first cutting?
Well, I am finished with everything, I thought. Neighbor called me, wanted me to do his, and a guy that's renting some ground here, he wants me to do some of his. So I don't know if you ever get done, but I'm done with all my stuff.
Okay.
My stuff is rolled up.
Okay, rolled up, and you're working to get it off the fields now, get it into storage?
That's the plan, to get it off the fields today. So.
And the weather where you are up there in Leicester?
Well, they were calling for great weather for a week, and I went and knocked down quite a bit, and everything was good, and I didn't set it because it was really drying. I said, well, I want to go visit my father-in-law and my father on Father's Day, and then it'll be ready to bale, and I'll be like I should be doing it. And I didn't set it, and then come Tuesday morning when we had it all raked up from Monday, ready to bale, it was just a little tough, and came a nice rainstorm Tuesday morning, so I had to wait another couple days to get it done. So
okay, but it went up dry. Everything's okay.
Everything's great.
Good.
Everything's
good,
great. Doesn't look as pretty as it would have, but it's still really good hay. So.
All right. Hey, we've had a listener. I've got a comment here from Randy Jednat, and he says, your podcasts are awesome. Reminds me of the old days riding at the shows Sam used to put on. I asked him if there's anything that he wanted to let you know, and he said, yes, tell him I appreciate what he has done, especially when we were all young, gave us good stock and a good atmosphere to grow up in. Pretty nice comment there, Sam.
Well, I do appreciate that. And, always try to give them the right stock on their ability. Sometimes you couldn't, but always tried to. And as far as the atmosphere and all that, today I ought to do things a little different, but we just enjoyed what we did, so it made it nice.
Absolutely. And here's a young man that appreciates that. So that's pretty nice. So this weekend, I'm going to go a little more driving, going up to Putnam, which is about 30 minutes west of Indianapolis. Nice road course up there. I've been working on the car, and last night I was in Lexington working with my friend Eric, getting a setup put under the Toyota Celica. And I think we've come on to something, a little bit different camber, and a little bit different angle of the rear wheels that ought to help us be a little bit stickier. And so this weekend we'll be shaking it down, and I'm going to be working with a professional driving coach, Mr. Kelly Jones, out of Indianapolis. He has a company called Racecraft One. He'll be working with me, Sam. He'll ride, he'll look at my data, he'll give me ideas, he'll give me new lines through the corners to consider. And at least once a year, I try to get with a professional driving coach, even though I've been driving for like 10, 12 years. I find that there's just so much more that's available, and a different perspective or a different way of looking at a corner can cut off tenths of seconds, and that's what we're looking for. And he's just a great guy to work with, and you understand that from a mentoring and a coaching standpoint, the kind of instruction that we need as we go through these different things.
Well, it's always nice to get another perspective. I'm sure it is what can make you go faster is what you're looking at. What's the little things that makes a difference? You don't want to worry about anything else but the little things that make you go faster.
Yeah,
And somebody else's perspective is just a wonderful thing, especially if they have knowledge that you don't. You get a camaraderie, and it's just fun to be around somebody with the same goals and mindset that you have.
absolutely, absolutely. And that we talked about that in the past, that mindset and how important that is, whether it's gaining confidence or practicing new skills, to have somebody that believes in you, that can challenge you, can help you grow your skill set. Yeah, and you did that, Sam, for 30 years. As Randy talked about, our listener comment talked about, it's more than just the right stock. It's in the right atmosphere. Yes, the right atmosphere, but it's also the right assistance at the right time based on where these young folks are in their riding abilities. And you've always had a good eye for that.
The more I look at it, and I've been trying to look at it from a perspective is how come these boys that are around rodeo constantly, and I always said, set in the arena will help you ride good, meaning physical work and hard work to make you ride good to win the money. Because, but the more I think about it, I think it's more of just the connection with each other. When they're talking about riding. It's constantly top of the mind, constantly. That's all. When you're setting the arena and you're carrying them panels over there, and you set it down and you say, "Boy, that bull was this, or that horse was that." That's that. Their waking moments are rodeo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think that might be the difference that I couldn't put my pinpoint on, when these families that turn out these kids and, these kids that we've turned out, what is the difference from yesterday to today?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm hearing relationship is an important part of it. You can't do it on your own.
Oh, I don't. I don't think you can do much in life on your own.
There you go. There you go. There you go. The right connections at the right place. I love what you said. The right mindset, and you've always talked about your traveling partners, and if you had a really, really good traveling partner, meaning good at rodeo, good at the business of rodeo, it upped your game.
Oh, most definitely. And when we talk about Dalen, remind me to talk about this. But yeah, traveling partners are great. And these young guys out there are starting to get on the road and go. I think the biggest thing that they don't do from the start is boundaries with your traveling partners. Set up a time when you're leaving, set up what's going on, plan out your schedule, and if it's somebody's job to check the oil on the truck when you stop to get fuel, somebody's job to fuel it up, have those boundaries in place, and it just makes life go on so much better in the truck.
I like that. I like that. One of the things you always preached was the business of rodeo, and it is a business, right? You're investing in the gas and fuel to go down the road. You're paying the entry fees. It is a business, and you always said, pay attention to business.
Yeah. Was I always the best at it? No. But
right.
Yeah, you wanted to take care of business.
You bet.
Have fun when it's time to have fun, and enjoy where you're at in life. And when it's time to get in the vehicle to drive an extra 16 hours to get to the next one, be ready to do that when you're supposed to. Don't be messing around.
Yeah, yeah. So a little bit on that traveling. I like where you're going with this. A little bit on the traveling. In the old days, you drove a lot of those 16 hours, get from one rodeo to the next, get one from one bull riding to the next. With Dalen, is he traveling that way or is it mostly flying? What kind of, yeah, how's he getting down the road these days?
Oh, you make me laugh. He went up to uh, I don't know, it was Montana or North Dakota the other day with a couple guys, and they drove, and he said, you know, when he got there, he said, I'm not going to drive more than 12 hours.
Yeah,
And he said, when I got in the vehicle, they told me it was 12 hours, and I got in there, it was 15 to get there.
yeah.
And he said, oh, that just started it right from the start. I was mad to begin with. And
Yeah,
then then I said, but there's something to be said for the camaraderie of
yeah,
riding
yeah,
with
yeah,
people other than getting on airplanes and
yeah,
doing it.
yeah.
And he said, well, I'm flying next weekend. I don't care.
I'll visit with him when I get there.
Yeah. And, I think with Dalen,
Yeah,
and towards the end of my career, you could stay home and work and make up for what it costs to fly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I see.
that,
Yeah,
that that made a difference. But he likes to work on his place and
you bet. You
do
bet.
that rather than sit in a vehicle. He's like a caged up animal when he's just sitting there.
Okay.
So
Okay. So I'm gonna ask, how is Dalen? What's he up to these days?
he's at North Carolina.
Oh,
They're
okay.
doing the team thing,
Oh, nice.
the workouts and the training camp, I guess they call it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
he called yesterday, and I asked him how it was going. Oh, and it's good,
Mm-hmm.
and because I thought there's a PBR in Canada, I thought he'd go to Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
but he must have thought it was more important to stay there and do that, which is good. And then I asked him, I said, well, how is it with the new team members? Because I
Yeah.
was so
Yeah.
excited that they got uh, Sage on
You
the
bet.
team
You bet.
to help him learn. He
Yeah.
said, you know, it's great. He said
Wow.
they're
Wow.
good. He said it's just, and he didn't elaborate, but he said
Yeah.
it's great.
Good.
And I tried to push him to elaborate, but it didn't happen.
Okay.
But
Okay.
he said it's really, really good.
Okay.
And they're
That's
going to have a
excellent.
very strong team, I believe. He didn't say that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's hard to believe that they won't. So,
Yeah. Hard to
and
believe it too. Hmm.
and when they were drafting, I was thinking when they're only going to get one or the other, Sage or Josh, and I'm thinking,
Right.
okay, Josh is young and multi-talented,
Yeah.
just oozing with ability,
Yeah.
and Sage is older. He'll probably only be there a couple of years, but the knowledge you can drag off of somebody like that,
Right.
a seven-time PRCA world champion, uh, it, it will help Dalen immensely. So, yeah, they got the best of both
I,
worlds, and I
I,
didn't have to worry about
I I
it.
I remember somebody, I don't remember who it was exactly, Sam, asked the question before the draft, would it be possible for one team, possibly the Carolina Cowboys, to have both the number one and number two pick? I don't remember who it was.
I
It
don't
sounded like
know.
a crazy question at the time.
Didn't it though? And that's what I said. Well, yeah, yeah, some wise man sitting in Kentucky asked me that, and I said, "Yeah, anything's possible, but so highly unlikely, it
Yeah.
just will never happen." And lo and behold, it did. And you
Yeah.
know, the the thing, the ride on Prime TV,
Yeah. Yeah.
I, I believe it or not,
Yeah.
uh, my daughter said she was watching it, of course,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
family members. It's about the contestants uh, and about the team series,
Yeah.
explaining some stuff. And I've been able to watch a little bit, but not much. But I've had, in this little community, probably 5 or 6 people tell me they've watched it
Nice.
that you wouldn't even dream would be watching that. So it must be pretty popular if some of these people that, it's not like they sought it out because of Dalen,
Right,
you
right,
know.
right.
I don't know
I
where.
think it's gaining momentum, right? I do, and I'm telling you, it is good. You want to learn about these cowboys, these rodeo athletes, beyond their riding. What do they do when they're not in the rodeo arena? They do the ride does a great job in depicting that, and you get to know things about these folks. And I tell you, Dalen just does such a great job on that show.
And I was there when they were filming it, and
Hmm.
they, they followed him everywhere. It, even right down to following him to church.
Oh
When
wow, okay,
we went to church that morning, we got there and they had stuff. The TV crew had
hmm,
already talked to the pastor and everybody and had seats set aside so they could film them walking in, and
hmm.
you know, um, so they really went in depth on his
That's neat.
everyday business.
You bet.
So,
You bet. And that's on Amazon Prime. So, to our listeners, if you haven't checked it out, I really, really, really encourage you to do that. Now, last time we talked, he was headed, just kind of catch everything up. He was headed to South Dakota, I believe, for another King of the Hill. No, King of the North bull riding series. How'd he do? I think it was Spearfish. Is that right? Deadwood.
um,
Deadwood.
Deadwood, yes,
Deadwood.
he went to
Okay.
Deadwood
Yeah.
and he won Deadwood.
Okay.
Then he went last weekend to Bismarck, North Dakota,
Okay. Yep.
and ended up splitting first
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, Split it with the young kid that was picked fourth in the draft. Nice kid.
Mm-hmm.
I met him and his brother. I met his brother earlier, but I met them both. I took some broncs to a PRCA rodeo, Cord McCoy's,
Mm.
and they were helping Cord out that weekend, and just good boys.
Good.
And
Good.
kid rides good, very polite. Just what you want to have hanging around. And I think that young man's winning second in the King of the North, and
Oh wow.
Dalen's winning first.
Okay.
So Dalen didn't gain much ground, but that's good.
You
Pushes to get better.
you bet. You bet. And Dalen's feeling good, feeling healthy.
He's sore.
Okay.
Uh, I don't think he's hurt. I think he's sore, and
Mm-hmm.
when he gets off, he gets around there for a little bit till it relaxes. And
I see. I see.
but yeah, at Deadwood, he had to get on 3 bulls,
Mm-hmm.
and the last one in the short go, he got a rewrite on,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't take it. And if he doesn't take a
Okay.
rewrite, he's sore.
He's sore. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Hey, we got some upcoming rodeo, Sam. It is that time of the year. Ellicottville. Hard to believe. 34 years John Kent and his family's been putting this rodeo on. Opens up on June 29th. That's a Thursday night. Thursday night, Friday night, 7 o'clock. And then fireworks, they say, after the Friday night show. And then Saturday afternoon show at 2 p.m. You can check them out at ellicottvillerodeo.com. You produced that rodeo, Sam, for a lot of those 34 years.
Um, yeah, that's John's and his family. They do an outstanding job, and I got in touch with John 30 some years ago, or he got in touch with me. I was just starting in the business, and he wanted to do a rodeo. And I went down there and talked to him, and really never thought it would happen. And lo and behold, we had 2 afternoon performances, and now it's grown into 4 performances. And I've done that rodeo ever since it started until I sold out.
Oh,
And
wow. So you did it all 30, all from the beginning you did it. Okay, I wasn't aware of that, but that's very cool. So 34 years this year, Sam.
yeah, that may be the only rodeo that I started start to finish.
Okay,
uh,
okay.
But yeah, 34 years and just just a good, hardworking family. Negotiations with John are a little tough because he's good at
He's good
it.
at it. He's a businessman.
Yeah, he's going to suck every nickel out of you he can, but
Yeah.
he's been fair with me, and I hope he feels the same way.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely. And then on July 7th and 8th, Friday and Saturday night, 8 p.m. each evening, Ford City, Pennsylvania. What they call the Ford Armstrong Championship Rodeo. Last time we talked about Jack Lindeman, big part of that rodeo for so many years. My one of my favorite rodeos to go to, from a great place to hang out. It's such a beautiful place, kind of in the middle of nowhere, Sam.
yeah, that rodeo's just, what can you say about Ford City? They pack them in there, uh, just really put the people in. They do a great job. When they first decided they're going to do a rodeo, they got in touch with me and got bids, and I didn't get it for about the first 3 years, and then they contacted me and said, we'd like you to do a rodeo. I said, okay, I'll come down and see the facility. No, you don't have to. And no, I said, I'd like to come down. No, we got it. We know what to do. We're good. And I didn't, when I pulled in there, I didn't have a clue. I thought I'd be going to a cornfield.
Right.
What a beautiful
Oh,
facility.
oh my
Just
goodness.
beautiful.
Yep, yep, yep,
And
yep.
yeah.
A lot of folks go there and trail ride all week, Sam.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was designed for, was
Hmm.
trail riding and camping and all that. And Jeff Altmeier's done a wonderful job there. And sad to say he passed away, but
Hmm. Hmm.
it was he's done a good job.
You bet, you bet. And then following that, so this ends Saturday night on July 8th. Then the rodeo moves to Benton, Pennsylvania. It's their 38th year, Sam. Benton Rodeo Committee, Rodeo Association, what a great job they do there. Kicks off. There's some shows, some horse shows. It runs darn near all week. Kicks off July 11th through the 16th. Ends with a bull riding on Sunday. Check them out at bentonrodeo.com. Sam, what's your memories here? What do you think?
Oh, it just great memories. 38 years, huh? Well, I rode in the first one. I
Okay,
didn't put it on, but I
okay,
rode in the first one.
okay, okay.
and and just the people in this association are just wonderful.
You bet.
Just business minded, do
Yep,
things that you would never think of,
yep,
like selling stock for the rodeo association,
yep, yep.
to become members, and doing all week events there to start it off.
Hmm.
Uh, there were some times I did it for a couple of years, and then Dave Martin got it back, and then he did it for a couple of years, and then I've probably done it for the last 20 some years.
Yeah, yeah.
But it, the people are really good, and they think outside the box. Just, you know, Dan Stoneham has been
Yeah,
a
yeah,
centerpiece of that from the start, and then Mel, and it, it's just a good family relationship
you
there.
bet. You bet. And every year, to your point, every year they're making it better. Better seating. They're improving constantly. They have more food stands there than any other rodeo I think I've ever been to. What is it? The halushki they serve, right? The cat. Oh,
Yeah,
and if you go there and you don't get a milkshake and a bowl of halushki, you're missing it. You're missing the whole Benton rodeo experience. So, a bunch of great rodeo cowboys, cowgirls come in for that, and what a great job they do. And
well,
then, oh, go ahead, Sam.
I'm sorry. No, Benton, with the food they have is wonderful. Instead of losing weight, they put on weight there, and they've had crazy things happen there. Like one year, a tornado came
Yeah,
through
yeah,
Wednesday, and we started rodeo Thursday.
yeah.
and no lights. And
Yep.
we had the fire trucks put their spotlights down for the bull ride so you could see.
Yep.
And I went to them wanting to do a Bulls and Broncs on Sunday
Yep.
because it was really getting to be a popular thing, and they didn't want to do it. They were, we had to talk them into it. I said, "Well, I'll go halves with you, and
Okay.
we'll do this together." And it was okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
It and now today, since they're doing it on their own, after the third year, they said, "Well, this is a good idea. Let's do it."
Yeah.
And they Sunday night, their Bulls and Broncs sells more tickets than Saturday night for the rodeo. It
Okay.
is just incredible.
Yep.
Sunday night
Yep.
is just amazing
You
event
bet.
there.
You bet. And I talked to Dan not long ago, and he talked about how their biggest challenge right now is parking. You get everybody in. Don't misunderstand. We'll get everybody in, he said, but they've had to expand their parking. So that's pretty neat. And
Good problems.
yeah, and speaking of food, they have a pizza oven. I mean, they bake the pizza right on site. It's pretty crazy. So you got to check that out. Benton Rodeo on what did I say, 11th through the 16th. And you can check them out at bentonrodeo.com. And then finally, Sam, 65 years, your neck of the woods, Attica. Kicks off on Thursday evening at 8. 5 performances over the weekend, 65 years, Sam.
Yes, just my hometown rodeo. What can you say? I grew up in that arena,
Yeah.
and it has produced some outstanding contestants through the years, and they're doing stuff there all the time, which just is great for the young kids coming up. They don't buck much stock, but they do team penning and horse shows and barrel races, and it just is really good to keep the young people in the surrounding areas coming there.
You bet. You bet.
Just fantastic people. Dave Wheeler and
Mm-hmm.
crew, when they hired me, it was probably the worst week of my life. They worked the arena up really deep, and we got all this rain, and we're tracking cattle the day before, and the calves couldn't run down the arena. It was belly
Oh,
deep.
wow. Wow.
We had a little meeting, and I said, "There's no way. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
no way. You can't do it."
Mm-hmm.
And they got to work and brought new, took all the mud out and brought new fill in. And now towards the end, the contractor, he got about three-quarters of the way done. He said, "I can't do."
Yeah.
He said, "We'll never be ready."
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like 2 hours to showtime, and we said, "Well, we pushed all the mud in the corners and
Okay.
fenced it off, and had a great week." And the fill they brought in has just made that arena great now.
Okay. Okay. And you know, Skeet Barrett, who we just interviewed and whose episode just aired 2 days ago, of course, professional barrel racer from Sequoia, New York. She has a clinic, Sam, in early July in the Attica in the arena there. So she's going to have a bunch of ladies coming in for. I heard she told me it's sold out. And what a great place when we talk about Attica. What a great place for an event like that. You've had schools there before.
Yeah, Attica, and the thing about Attica is that everybody knows it, in the Northeast here.
Mm-hmm.
It has a reputation, and they try hard. They've done not just schools, but high school rodeos in the past. Quite a few of them, trying to bring the young kids up and show them that they've got a place to come and to compete and learn their trade.
You bet. You bet. And that's part of growing those athletes, right? That become the rookies, that become the champions, that come through Attica, and put them out in the rodeo world, whether it's Ellicottville, Ford City, Benton, or back to Attica. It's having these athletes out there and giving them that start that we spoke of earlier. So, Sam, we're going to roll into some rodeo terms. We're going to pick up where we left off. Pick up some rodeo terms, some bull riding terms, so some of our new listeners can understand some of the lingo that we use.
Okay.
So let's go to the stock contractor judging portion of it. Talk a little bit about the draw. So you go into a rodeo, and it's a 4-day rodeo. No short goes, no typically one ride for each cowboy that shows up. We're talking just the bull riding. Who determines which bulls go into the draw at a rodeo?
The stock contractor.
Okay.
They'll set pens to what bulls go when. Originally, I think it was set up in the IPRA that you set your pens ahead of time. You drew pens, and that's what went this day and what went that day, because you knew which animals could buck more than others.
Would you try to match them up? You knew which contestants you had. Let's say Saturday night, you want to sell the show. It's a final final performance rather. You got some toughs out, some really, really good bull riders. Would you set a pen and say, this is my Saturday pen and it's going to be my best?
Yes.
Okay.
It got to be more like the contestants would know what animals were out. Like a lot of times we went to J Bar J in Michigan on a Saturday because we knew that all his good stuff was out that day.
Okay.
And he had good stuff straight through, so it didn't matter. But that's what you would look at. When I was riding, I didn't realize how it was really done.
Mm-hmm.
But after I started putting them on, it made sense. And
okay.
especially if you only had a couple riders and they were just beginners, it was nice because then you could just put horses in there or bulls in there that they could not wipe them out.
Okay.
Try to keep them coming back the next week.
Yeah, yeah. And then short round bulls, like in the PBR, who determines those bulls that come back for the short go?
They're all determined ahead of time.
Okay.
The stock selection is all done by one person in the PBR picks what bulls go to the event. And then he has his short round and his long rounds all figured out. The short round bulls will be set up as to what he figures are the best bulls they have that weekend.
Okay. And on a 4 or 5 day rodeo, how many times would you want a bull to go to buck? How many different performances?
Usually only buck them more than in a week more than twice. That would be about the norm. Sometimes you might have to buck them 3 times if you're there for 5 days, but very seldom did we ever buck more than twice in a week.
All right, let's talk a little bit about equipment. Let's start with the bull rope. So if I want to get started in rodeo, bull riding, first thing I've got to have is a bull rope. So we see the Brazilian ropes. First off, describe an American typical bull riding rope that you rode with years ago.
Okay, it's a flat braided rope with a handhold that has leather through it, and you put benzoin on it to stiffen it up so you got something better to grab onto.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's flat braided and looped at the one end, and you put the flat braided end through the loops and then pull it up and then wrap it around your hand. The difference between the Brazilian rope is it pulls the other way. It's basically the same rope. It pulls the other way, and the handhold is a lot higher riser in it,
Mm-hmm.
where it doesn't squeeze your hand down onto the bull's back. So it takes more rope to pull it tight. That's why you'll see these guys, and they limited it to 2 people pulling a rope now.
Okay.
Or 3 hands on a rope is what they say.
Okay.
So one guy and then the bull rider himself can give a little tug because it takes more rope to hold it in the spot you want it to stay at.
Yeah. So the riser, which if I'm remembering correctly, goes up by the backbone of the bull in the handhold, and that's like a spacer that when you pull the rope, it doesn't pull the rope completely tight and flat against itself. It gives you a little bit of room. Now, is the bull rope still pulled so tight that your hand is locked in? That's the wrong word. Similar though to like an American rope?
No, it does not bind your hand down the way it does on an American rope.
Okay.
Um, it it leaves a little space in there, and it allows you to not get hung up quite as easily. Hung up being your hand stuck in the rope
Okay.
for the ride. So when you go to get off, you can get off a little easier. But and that's why Dalen went to a Brazilian rope, is because he said he didn't get, he could get his hand out better. The only issue I don't like about it, if the hand does get stuck, and it usually turns you to your back,
Oh,
and
really?
then the bull
Okay.
can step on you
Okay.
a little easier.
Okay.
It drags you down underneath.
Okay. Okay. Without it binding your hand in like the classic rope, it's more on grip then. It's less on mechanical grip from the strength of the rope or the tightness of the rope. So now I'm having to depend on the grip of my hand more.
Um, I really can't answer that truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that it's more on the grip.
Hmm.
And yeah, it probably is because they use a lot more sticky type rosin than they used to.
Okay.
So it probably is more on the grip to stay on. But it, your strength can't hold you on these bulls.
Right.
There ain't no
Right.
way, no how.
Right.
It takes, you got to be in time with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why we see so many guys with these bulls that are so outstanding. They ride them for 4 and are riding pretty good, and then they lose their hand when they're sitting right in the middle.
I see.
It
I
just
see.
blows it out.
So talk a little bit about the chaps. Required to have chaps?
No, uh, not required. Chaps are pretty much for show.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they make the bull have a little more, look like he's having a. More action.
Mm-hmm.
Now in the saddle bronc riding, chaps are a must to keep you in your saddle, and you can put rosin on them and on the saddle, and
Mm-hmm.
it helps you stay on. You pretty much need them. I've seen Mike ride in his pants once, but nobody said he was too smart.
So spurs. What kind of spurs? What kind of rowels? And then are the rowels locked?
They used to be in the bull riding. They used to be locked. Now they found that they do like a quarter of a turn,
Mm.
and it kind of catches better and works better. In the horse ridings, they're free rolling.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be. They got pretty stringent rules in every association what kind of rowels you can use and
Mm-hmm.
how big and what they can do. And they will check them too from time to time
Okay.
to make sure. And I don't know why anybody would do anything that wouldn't be legal on that end, because spurs are very important.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's not like if they're not legal, they're going to help you.
I
You
see.
know.
I see. But they are a must. If you're going to ride a bull, they are a must.
Yes, very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then talk a little bit about the vest these guys are wearing.
So important.
Mm-hmm.
So important that it's kind of like a flak jacket for that police would wear and like that, modified for bull riding. Uh, Lightweight and just protection. You can't have 100% protection, but my goodness, it saved a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of
Mm-hmm.
a lot of injuries,
Yeah.
a lot of injuries. They get ripped off sometimes, and you think, oh my goodness, it's not there. Well, you know, 20 years ago they just started using them,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's everybody uses them because it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then protective gear. Let's go to the helmet.
The vest and the helmet are the best two things that's happened to bull riders.
Mm-hmm.
Helmet, the downfall to the helmet is the weight of it,
Mm-hmm.
and if to keep your chin down, if they get it picked up, you're gonna have to fight to get it down a little bit. But the PBR has a rule in there on if you were born before a certain year or after a certain year, you have to wear a helmet
Right.
because you kind of grew up with it,
Right.
And the elderly gentlemen of the group are grandfathered in without having to do that. But it won't be long till everybody you'll see wear a helmet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be glad of that.
Absolutely.
Carrie,
Go ahead.
Carrie always said, if you're going to ride, you're going to have a helmet ever
You
since
bet.
they were
You bet.
first time they were getting on.
And difference in helmets.
There's a huge difference in helmets. They started off using hockey helmets,
Mm-hmm.
which protected them. That was okay, but they'd get a lot of broken jaws from it was connected solid
Oh,
to
okay.
the jaw.
Okay.
And Dalen broke his jaw that way once because of the hockey helmet. And
So
then we started researching them.
so
Go ahead.
so
Sorry.
what? No, no. How does, because it's too tight. It's coming down around your chin. You're pulling it super tight. So he gets kicked. He lands wrong in the helmet. The force of the chin strap breaks his jaw.
I believe so. I wasn't there. Carrie took him over because Dalen just wanted to get on, and this is when years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I said I don't know if I'd take him over there, and but Dalen, being Dalen,
Yeah.
wanted to go, so she
Yeah.
took him, and he kind of got drug underneath and stepped on and broke his jaw.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
but that's what we come to find out is the new ones, the chin straps are hooked somehow separately
Mm-hmm.
from
Oh.
the helmet itself. I mean, it still hooks to the helmet, but there's something in there that makes a difference where they're not breaking their
Oh,
jaws
wow.
like
Wow.
with the hockey helmets they were.
Okay. Okay.
So
And then the early hockey helmets, did they have face masks as well?
yes, yeah, uh, that was not the whole, but the biggest gist of it was to protect the face from getting
Yeah.
whacked. And, yeah,
And boy,
I
we
think
saw
that's where
that.
they all started from Tough Hedeman and
Okay.
Bodacious, and
Bodacious. Yeah.
when they had like a catcher's mask,
Yeah.
and then it just involved what it is today. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Research is really good. There's a couple companies that they called us on asking opinions and what worked and what didn't work, and sent us some different helmets to try.
Talk a little bit about the gloves then. A lot of different colors, lots of different embroideries, lots of different trademarks put on them, sayings put on them. But what kind of leather typically does a bull rider ride with?
Typically goat skin.
Okay.
It's soft, yeah, durable. They can feel the rope good. Doesn't get too stiff, and I imagine they're all pretty much the same now. It's just what feels comfortable in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they just put different logos and different things of that on it, but it's all pretty much the same glove,
Okay.
just different makers.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then most of the cowboys, they'll put tape after they put their glove on. They'll put tape around their wrist. I'm assuming that's to support the wrist and keep the glove on.
Yes, to keep the glove on.
It is. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. And then the combination between the rope, the glove, and you've already talked a little bit about it, rosin or some sort of something that they heat up. When I watch them in the shoots, somebody's holding the tail of the rope. They're heating their leather glove up on the tail of that rope, which looks some sort of black substance on it. They'll heat it up, and then they'll heat up their handle just by rubbing their hand on it before they put it in. So what rosin, what kind of substance is that these days?
Yeah, it's a rosin type mixture. I don't know what it is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but it's pretty good and sticky when you get it warm.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
but yeah, they'll call it rosin, but it's somebody's came up with a mixture that's pretty sticky and works good. And you can buy that. From, it's whatever your preference is.
Okay.
Different people make it, but it's basically the same stuff, I think.
Okay. And the PBR does regulate those mixtures?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
If you got, they used to say dry rosin only
Mm-hmm.
in and like in the saddle bronc riding, dry rosin only. Well, that's not the case anymore.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
when you watch these guys and they're getting their head ripped back, they got some really good. Yeah, I've never seen any rosin hold you in like that.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So they've got some sort of new substance they're working with. So
yeah.
so where do if I'm getting started or I'm a PBR rider, whatever, where do I get this equipment? Where do I find a Brazilian rope, the chaps, the spurs, the vest, the helmet, the gloves, etc.? Where do I find that?
Well, Brazilian ropes, I don't know where you'd get them from.
Mm-hmm.
Dalen's got a guy that he orders them from, and I don't know what his name is. And, he might order 3 at a time and pick out the one he likes the best. And he changes them fairly regular.
He does.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Uh,
Out of 3 ropes, they can all be different? And what would make them different? Do you know?
just the way they feel to them. They're basically the same rope, but if one feels better than the other, that's when he's going to use. And
Okay.
then he will sell the other 2 to other people.
Okay. And how many ropes in a season might Dalen be using?
It all depends because they'll break down differently. Uh, I would say probably 3 to 4, but you could, he could be riding with one and ride with it 10 times and say, this isn't working, and I'll just get another one.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Okay. And he can feel or he can look at the condition and then it's time to change it out.
yeah, I think he's learned through the years, like he wasn't riding too good. And JB Mooney, he went and got on some bulls at his house there one time, and JB says, your rope's junk,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Dalen being tighter than paint on a pipe, he doesn't want to change nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But he showed him what was happening and why he was getting bucked off, and
I
he
see.
got a new rope, and things went better.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Yep.
That's great to know. So
So it's
talking
just
about
learning process.
yeah, for sure. I had no idea that many ropes in a season, that ropes were that different, that ropes ultimately got to a condition that could add to you not riding well. I wouldn't have guessed that. So let's talk a little bit about the stock contractor equipment, and I'm going to go here, the flank strap. Probably one of the most often asked question. The flank strap on the bull, where does it go around? What in the world does it do it, or what does it do? And what happens if the bull doesn't have a flank strap?
Okay, well, the biggest thing a flank strap does is enhances the kick. Uh, they're they say, and I haven't talked to the bull, so I don't know, but they're trying to kick it off their back. And different bulls will put on different tightness and that. But yeah, it doesn't impede them in any way. It's not around the testicles of the bulls. You hear all this nonsense. It's just a cotton rope, like a 5/8 inch cotton rope that goes around the flank area of the bull. And depending on the bull, draw it up. Some of them takes very loose flank strap, and some of them take a little tighter.
Mm-hmm.
Usually the younger, the looser they are. So as they get older, they get accustomed to it. You might want to tighten it up a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a 5/8 inch cotton rope that goes around the flank area, and if they try to kick it off, is what helps the kick, I guess, is what they're saying.
So no pinching, no binding, nothing like that?
No.
Okay. Let's shift to rules. So basically, rides are 8 seconds. We're talking about bull riding specifically. Rides are 8 seconds. And the rule quite simply says can't touch yourself or your bull with your free hand.
Right. And it's as simple as that. You must have your hand in the rope or on the rope. You got to have a hold of the rope somehow. Okay. In order to get a score at the 8 second time limit.
Right.
Your hand in the rope or a hold of the rope, and you can't touch the bull with your free hand or the ground. It's pretty simple.
If I hit my leg during a ride, is that a disqualification?
Yes.
With my hand, I hit. Okay, that's a disqualification.
Yeah, can't touch yourself or the bull.
And then I'm
with
noticing
your free hand.
With your free hand. And when did it become one hand in the air, one hand in the bull rope? Do you? Early pictures.
But I'm not that old.
Okay. Was it like when you were 18 or something? Was it?
No. It's always been that way as far as I can remember.
Okay. So, and hand in the bull rope, a hold of the bull rope. They will watch it. I'm out in the air. I'm out, bucked off this bull. But if I've got my hand on the tail of the rope, I still am qualifying those seconds.
Yes. Yep. It'll go. They'll review it, you run it back and forth and everything to see where they're at.
Okay.
And you're qualified until you either hit the ground, let go of the rope, or touch the animal or yourself.
All right, Sam, we can't end an episode without asking about Colton. Last time we spoke, he was out for about a week. He was traveling pretty hard. What's going on with Colton? How is he first? How is he? And what's going on?
Well, I'd like to know how he is because I haven't heard from him much. And here it is, a small world that we live in, how condensed it is. Colton was out in Kansas, and neighbor up here, I called him, he's a town supervisor, and had a question on some stuff, and he said, well, I'll check it out for you. Oh, he said, I got a picture of Colton today. I said, what do you mean you got a picture of Colton? Yeah, guy sent me a picture of Colton. I said, I was thinking, no, this ain't,
right.
This ain't right. And I said, well, where were they at? I don't know. The guy lives in Kansas. He said he was staying at his house practicing.
Oh, my
I said,
goodness.
what?
Okay.
And he said, yeah, he sent a picture. And then I called Colton later on, and I said, well, where were you at? He says, I was in Kansas. And I said, well, whose house were you at? And he said a name of the guy he's traveling with, but must be they went over to this other guy's to practice.
Okay.
And he sent a picture of him and had the guy, he said, a guy asked him, he said, how far do you know where Geneseo, New York is? And Colton said, I can look out my back window and see it. And so Colton didn't think any more of that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and must be the guy just took a picture and sent it to the neighbor here. So
Okay.
just interesting. He is last night. I believe he was at Reno Rodeo.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Okay.
I came in and turned it on to see if I guess that they have slack, and there's probably 100 some bulldoggers,
Oh,
but
my goodness. Okay.
however many was in the slack, and then they take the top 8 back to the performance at night, or 6 or something like that, maybe 8. And I was watching the bareback riding and fell asleep, and got to watch. I woke up for some of the steer wrestling, and I thought, oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
You know how you do it. Don't know if you
Yeah.
fell asleep or not. And
Right.
I thought, well, steer wrestling starting. We'll see if Colton made it in
Yeah.
the top bunch. And I got to see the last 2 guys, and
Okay.
one of them was Colton's traveling partner. So that was
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And
Yeah.
he made the fastest run last night. That
Nice.
Tyler Rasmus riding across, and just a good kid from Nebraska. And
Yeah.
Colton's traveling with some great people, and he did really well at a big jackpot somewhere that everybody was at. And it's just on the road. It hasn't been his turn, but if he keeps knocking at the door,
You bet.
it will
You bet.
be.
You
And
bet.
hope he's just enjoying everything. I know how Colton is if he's not winning. It's frustrating, but it'll come. It'll just
It'll come. Yeah.
have to keep playing the game. When it's your turn, it'll be your turn.
You bet.
So,
You bet. Well, we're all cheering on Colton. So let's go get him, Colton.
Yep.
All right, Sam. We covered a lot of ground. Anything you can think of that we haven't covered today?
Oh, there's lots I can think of, but nothing that people are interested in. So,
Yeah.
no, it's been good, Doug. Thank you for the therapy. I need a little of this every now and then.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just a pleasure to talk with you, Sam, this morning. It's makes my day. So that's very, very nice. Yeah.
Well, the pleasure's mine, and hopefully it helps some people understand what our way of life is, and brings back memories, and just helpful to some people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. Well said. And that's where I'm going to say goodbye, Sam. Now, we hope that you enjoy our podcast as much as we enjoy doing it. If you do, please share it with your friends. Help us spread the word. Repost it on Facebook. Help someone find it on their phone. Help them follow it. To make your listening easier, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Search for Beyond the Chutes and follow us. Reminder, check out the New York State Rodeo Museum Facebook group page and become a member. This is Beyond the Chutes, where we ride for the brand. Until next time, this is Doug Simcox, Sam Swearingen saying thank you for listening.